should have been a cowboy. I should have learned to rope ride.
Cowboy Cole, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, dude. Back in the desert. It's a little bit chilly in the desert, but not as chilly as where you are, and you're rocking a wild rag.
I'm rocking a wild rag because I'm sick as a dog, bro. It's hurting. So Clarita says, I don't know if it's true or not, that if you put a little rag on your throat, it helps with the cough. So I'm trying it.
You got to keep that throat warm, baby.
So I'll make my money, Cowboy Cole. You know how important my throat is.
Dude, you got big taste, my brother. Big
Oh,
taste. But yeah,
dear.
no, that does suck being sick like that.
Yeah, it happens. But Cowboy Cole, you've had an eventful past few days. You flew back to the Berta. Why were you here? Tell us all about it.
Well, I got kind of a last minute hire to be involved in the Banff Skijor event for the Banff snow days out there. And every year the Skijor crew rolls out there. They set up the track. They huck big flips and everything like that. And this year, Sam had reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I want you on a mic. I want you to help co-host our fashion segments," because they do 3 fashion segments where you get like people dressed super Western in their big fur. Then we find some apres people in like onesie ski neon outfits. And then we try to find some people that are a bit of a combination of that. So I went up there and co-hosted that with Carla Marks, man. And holy frick, did we have fun, dude. We had a blast out there.
Oh, it looked like, honestly, it looks so much fun. I'm so rattled because I just moved to Alberta. This is one of the events, like the main events I was so excited for. Where do you get to see skijoring in one of the most beautiful towns in the world, in the middle of the majestic Rocky Mountains? And I wasn't here for it. So I'm super sad. But for those that are maybe listening or watching this, Cowboy Cole, and don't know what skijoring is, which is like the weirdest word in the world. I feel like it's past like 3-4 years, it's really come on the map. I'd never seen it before. So explain to the viewers at home and the listeners, what is skijoring?
So basically, it is combining fast horses, pretty cowgirls, good looking cowboys, and awesome skiers and snowboarders. So they got a big track set up. You start at the one end, and they've got huge kickers built throughout the track. They've got different, like little ring things that you can, as you're whipping by them, you can like boom, grab a ring, which I think is a part of like their competition style when they actually do a ticketed event, is like securing those rings, getting through the course. But this one's just a flat track straight across, and they take these skiers at full speed, man, and they're hucking backflips off these kickers. They're doing 360s and tricks I don't even know what you would call them, and it's really cool because they have a couple people from like the World Canada team for skiers that fly in, do these
No
events.
way.
They fly back out to go to their big ski tournaments and stuff like that.
Wow.
I met a kid last year at a Zoomies event that I was invited to that's a pro snowboarder. He's riding for these guys now. So all walks
Wow.
of life, dude, come out to this event. And so, yeah, if you do go to a ticketed Skijor event, Skijor, depending who you talk to as well, they'll be like,
Yeah.
it's Skijor, but but yeah, if you go to a full-on ticketed event, they have like legit teams, rider and a slider is what they call them. And yeah, you got to get through the track the fastest and like get the most amount of hoops. And then yeah, there is like a big air, big trick competition and stuff like that. It's wild, dude.
Bro, it is epic. Honestly, like you join like all these things, right? Beautiful mountains, blue skies, the white snow, the beautiful horses galloping down the street with these skiers. Exactly what Cole's saying. I don't even know what some of these tricks are called. Like these guys are like throwing 360s, backflips, like off these jumps. It's one of the coolest things to watch. Like, and like I said, I've never seen this live, so I can't even imagine what it'd be there, be a part of the vibe. You guys had a record-setting crowd, I think, this
Oh
year, right?
yeah.
Cowboy Cole, like
Oh
thousands
yeah,
of people. How
dude.
many people were there?
Saturday we had 11,000.
Wow.
I can't even explain to you how packed Banff Ave was, dude. Like to the point to
Wow.
where the next morning, one of the representatives of the town of Banff had to come talk to us and be like, "Hey, so we were running into issues yesterday of like even just crosswalk issues, people trying to get across the street to come watch our event or to leave the event. We were having issues
Wow.
with people climbing light posts to watch the event, putting their kids up in trees so they could stand in the tree and watch the event. So like the town of Banff
Wow.
was like, all right, we all got to like triple down on security. And if you see somebody doing something they shouldn't, please say something. If they don't listen to you, go get somebody that they will listen to. Like it was off the chains,
Wow.
man. It was so much fun.
Wow. This is turning into Woodstock, the 1990s version. Next year they're gonna be burning shit. Like No, bro, amazing event. Congratulations to everyone that's putting it together. Congratulations to you, Cowboy Cole. And you actually won, right? Last year you won best dressed, if I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah, so
mistaken.
last year I went on my own to just do all my own content. I was interviewing people, having a blast, and like I'm out there in my leather shotgun chaps. I've got a big buffalo coat that was handed down to me from my grandpa. So like I looked the part, and a
Yeah.
couple of the rodeo queens that were there helping out with the event last year were like, "Hey, do you want to be in our Western fashion segment?" So I'm like, "Absolutely." I go out there, I'm doing trick ropes with my rope and everything, end up winning. It was rank.
That's so funny, bro. No, you did a great job. So went from winning the contest to being one of the reporters on the ground the next
hmm
year. And is there going to be another one in Calgary? Am I did I hear correctly?
Yeah, so February 15th, 16th, Family Day weekend, they do have their big Ski
Wow.
Door Do event at Fort Calgary is where that's going to be. So go to Ski
Oh
Door
wow.
Canada, their Instagram, or hit up skidoorcanada.com.ca, whatever it is. Get your tickets for that because I think Cowboy Cole may or may not be coming back for that one too.
That's amazing. And what's going on in Arizona, bro? You got the big isn't the big truck
hmm
this weekend? When is it? Is
Yeah,
it coming up?
as we film this, dude, I go to that tomorrow morning. Well, I load up, head to Rancho Rio, dude. Put my
Oh,
name and my money down. I'm gonna enter twice. It's a pick one draw one, so I'm gonna enter twice, have 4 runs, and it's points towards the truck for the top 15 in the average, man. So I'm gunslinging. I'm going for that freaking dually, dude.
let's go, bro.
Let's
Let's
freaking go.
go. Cowboy Cole, it's yours, buddy.
Hell
Visualize
yeah.
it, visualize it. And today we have a very special guest coming on the show. You were with her this past weekend at
Mm-hmm.
Skijoring. Why don't you do the honors? Cowboy Cole, who are we interviewing?
Yeah, man, we got somebody really cool today. Somebody that we've been getting to know over the last couple years, and obviously she's been a force in the game for a while though. But we got Bella DaCosta, one of the best trick riders in the freaking world, and somebody
Yes,
that, yeah, I
sir.
just worked with this past weekend, up in
And
Banff. She was,
someone
go
who
ahead.
tried to kill you in the past, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
she
excited to
did.
talk about this.
I can't
That
wait to
video
talk
brought
him
so
up,
much
dude.
joy to my life, so
Yep.
much joy to my life. If you have not seen the video, go on Cowboy Cole's Instagram or Bella's. I believe they
hmm
collabed on it. Cowboy Cole starts his career as a trick rider, and it lasted zero point 0.2 seconds.
Yep. And then you know what? I still got the freaking gravel rash to talk about it. All right. So we took
No,
a
well,
good
you're.
slam.
I was watching it again the other day. You're in a t-shirt. She should have put you in like a motorcycle jacket because you're
Literally.
flying. You did a great job though, man. You were killing it until the second hop over the saddle. That's when it all went downhill.
That's when it all went downhill and Cowboy Cole literally went down. But we're going to get to that. Bella DaCosta, guys, I'm stoked. We're going to chat with her right now.
There
Oh,
we go. Turn off the button. It's really tough.
Bella DaCosta lot, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good.
we're good. I heard that Cowboy Cole was annoying you this weekend. I apologize in advance.
Our
This guy
little
Oh,
is a difficult man to be around.
our
But
little
Bella,
pre-production meetings there got you with 2 jokes in 2 days.
yeah. I was pretty slow the second day.
Bella, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us. Cole just said before you came on, you're literally one of the best trick riders in the world, and it's so cool that we get to chat with you today. You're so young, and you're already just making your mark in the industry, in the rodeo world, the trick riding world, not only in Canada, the United States. Tell me about my first question to you is you started your dream began when you were 4 or 5 years old. I heard you were at the CFR and you saw trick riding for the first time, correct?
Yeah.
Who did you see? Who was trick riding at the time? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was Nikki Flundra, and she
Mm.
came down from like the ceiling on. She was doing Liberty, but she stood on her horse, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I used the internet and I looked her up, like a little crazy kid.
Oh my god! And what was that like when you told your parents for the first time? Like, I can imagine like your mom was like, and it was like, no, you're not doing this. This is insanity. Or were they helping you and supporting you from day one?
Well, at the beginning, my mom was like, "No way! Like you're not allowed." Like I used to hang off the side of my horse when moving cows. She took away my saddle. I still figured out how to hang off the side. And then my dad was all for it. He's like, "Yeah, let's buy her the saddle. Let's send her to clinics." And my mom, it was like, "No." But then she took me to my first clinic, and I was just hooked from there.
That's very cool. So let's talk about your background a little bit. Like you said, you were hanging off the saddle, moving cows and whatnot. So where are you from? What's your involvement in the ranching rodeo community growing up that led to where you are now?
So originally, my mom is from Saskatchewan, and she grew up on like pig and chicken farms, and she had horses growing up. And then my dad is from the city, and he's actually allergic to animals, all of them.
Classic.
Of course he
Yeah,
is.
and so and so when I was little, I learned how to ride and all that stuff. And I wasn't really involved in rodeo. Like none of my family rodeos. Kind of like me and my sister, like we rode horses, and we were the first ones who kind of started like really getting involved. And my mom and my dad supported us through it. And lots of our family friends, like down the road, they had farms and ranches, so they'd bring us out and move cows, and they taught us how to like ride horses better and do all the crazy stuff I do now, kind of.
It
Very
is
cool.
definitely crazy. Like if you're listening or watching this episode right now, please find Bella on social media. She is just on fuego, more than 200,000 followers, and the videos are insane. Like you see these videos, like for someone like myself that thinks he knows how to ride a horse, to see what you're doing is just like, how in hell's name do you get back in the saddle? And to prove how hard it is, Cowboy Cole, who's an experienced horseman who can rope a cow out of any angle, try trick riding a couple. Was it last year? I believe it was.
Yep.
Bella, can you break us down what happened?
He was just a natural.
A
Until he
natural
was
bird eater.
flying
I saw
off.
the video.
But other than that, like he was pretty good at it. I was shocked. I gave him the biggest horse I had. I gave him kind of a challenge, but
He-
it's
but
I don't
go
know, it's hard. But if you know how to a horse moves and stuff, you kind of figure it out as you go.
It's very deceiving too, Felipe, because like at first I was on the big gray and he was extremely intimidating. Big horse, had a big motor, like wanted to go. And I was like, come on, bro, you gotta be easy on me here for this first one. So we swapped me to the yellow horse, equally as big, not as intimidating, but like what I don't know, how fast was I going, Bella? Because I think I was going at like a high lope,
Wait, wait,
maybe.
wait. Before you say how fast he was going, you know that in your head you're always going faster than you really
Yes,
are.
it felt like Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last, dude. Especially when I had to like swing my leg over to the other side. Now I'm just like half-ass hanging off the left side of this horse, and I'm just like, oh, sweet Jesus, take the wheel. Oh, I don't know. It felt a lot faster than what I was going. Bella, you
Oh.
can be the judge on that.
It was a nice show lope.
A show lope, she says.
Oh, that's so good. A nice show lope.
It was
Oh
fast
Yeah,
man.
enough
that
for a
horse
good
just sprays
slam.
around.
Oh my God. That's but no, but honestly, Cowboy Call, all jokes apart, man. Just to try it, you gotta be so brave, you know what I mean? And you were doing a good job. Like the one clip that you did fall, you were killing it. I couldn't believe it. Like the first time, like, oh, he's hopping over the saddle. This motherfucker's gonna like do this. And then it caught up to you. But good for you, man. But Bella, like, how does it actually work? Like, how do you build up to that? Like, let's walk through the process. You're 4 or 5, you see this for the first time. How long does it take you to actually go to this clinic? And then from that first moment, like, how long does it actually take for you to become, let's say, a trick rider where you're already doing some tricks?
So, if I really wanted to, I could have gone a lot earlier than what I did and like started competing and doing shows. But I waited till I was like 10, I believe, to start competing and start doing shows because I wanted to be confident and have the horse and have my tricks down. So mainly to like was based off my horse and my confidence at the time on that horse because my first trick riding horse was a giant. Like I mean, I was probably up to his knee. Like I was so small and he was so big. I couldn't even get his bridle on. I had to jump on his head to like get on him bareback, and I'd slide up. But it's like lots of slow work and then just lots of building that connection with you and your horse and going through the basics over and over again, making it muscle memory, and then you add speed and time and then difficulty of tricks.
And like the horsepower, like we talked about it a little bit last year when we were jacking around and having fun and you were kind of talking about where you'll get horses, old trick riding or old like pickup horses and stuff like that. So tell us a little bit about your process and like basically getting one in, knowing right away if they're going to or not going to make it work. And then Then you got to add in the factor of like running them down the track in front of Grand Prairie Stampede crowds and stuff like that, or even the San Diego Rodeo, right? Where I mean, we'll get to that too because you guys were telling me that that was crazy this year. But like, the horse has to have the right mind in general, just for you to be crawling all over, hanging off the side, dangling, all that stuff. But then you got to factor in the noise and the music, and sometimes you got to run out there with no lights and there's fire going off. So tell us a little bit about that.
So lots of my horses, like I take them and I use them for everything, but my main two trick horses are my two black ones. It's Dixie and Boone. And my other ones, they're like pickup horses or rope horses or something. But these two, Boone's a rescue, and Dixie, I've had her since she was a baby, and we thought she was going to kill me. And I needed a horse this summer. And I've been training her since she was 4 years old. And I was like, I pulled her on Grand Prairie, and I'm like, I need her. She has all the training. And that horse just like took to it. I talked to her the whole way through. Like I use voice cues a lot on my horses, like yelling at them and stuff so that they know where they're going, or like talking to them through it all. So I realized that's helped me a lot with like the big crowds. But from taking like my horse Boone, he wasn't broke at all, and he was 14. And I knew that horse in 6 weeks to go across Canada. There was no time at all. It was just like, he's got to work, yeah. And so it took us 6 hours to get him off a trailer. He was so stubborn. And after that, I was like, he's tired, so let's jump on him. And I hopped on him bareback, of course, because I didn't want to put a saddle on. And he was kind of easy to ride, and he had some basics. He had 30 days when he was like 3. So I guess maybe some of that stayed in his brain. And then we started trick training him and kind of broke him a little bit, and then took him from there. And my other horses, like, they've been just super easy to get going. And if they don't like me off the side of them, they let me know quick. I've been tossed a lot and hanging off the side, like my horse will just cut in two. And you just pray you can get back on.
Because like, I mean, we had my feet literally through a full-on strap to do the suicide drag. So like, what is the ejection button like when one is like, nope, don't like this?
You try to get up, but oftentimes all my straps, they're like left as like open loops. And if you get a little slack in it and you point your toe, you'll just fall out.
Dang.
Enough slack. Or
Wow.
you hope that your shoe's going to come off if you are in that bad of a situation, or your horse will stop. That horse you actually rode, I had him buck on me once, pretty hard in practice, and I was strapped in and I was out the side. I was doing the strap layout, and he was bucking, and I couldn't get my foot out of the strap quick enough. So I just kind of stayed in the trick, and I grabbed his reins and I rode him through it.
Oh,
Oh my
what?
God.
Hanging off the
What
side.
score did they give you?
I think that was a 90.
At least.
Wow, trick bronc riding. I think we should introduce this X Games. Let's
X Games
go.
mode, Bella de Costa.
But Bella, you talk so nonchalantly about your foot just come off, fall off at
Yeah.
30 kilometers an hour off a gigantic 16-hand horse. What are the injuries like? I'm sure. Have you been injured before? Seriously, like what's that been like?
I struggle with concussions a lot mainly. That's what like been one of my big struggles all throughout trick riding. And then I've had a couple just like wrecks that happened, and I hurt myself. Like I almost broke my femur in Regina last year, the year before.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that one was pretty scary, but I didn't listen to the sports med or doctors, and I rode 2 events after I got into the wreck, and I was fine. It was just sore for a couple days. They tried to make me wear a sling, but I didn't see the point of it.
The cowgirl, folks.
Yep, that's just cowboying up right there.
Yeah. But like as a contract act, you kind of like, you're not supposed to fall off. Like as a bronc rider or a bull rider or whatever, it's okay if you eat the dirt. You can walk out of that arena, but a contract act, you got to get back on unless you're like in the dirt and you're not getting up.
Mhm.
That's kind of, you always got to get back on and sell it, make it better.
We've all been there. We've all been there. But I saw a video where you weren't in the wreck, but your mom was. I think you were on a bay horse, and that horse just ate your mother. Like, I feel so bad. I love your mother. All respects to her. But I laughed pretty hard. Tell us about that. What happened there?
So that was my first rodeo I had ever done in the States. And it was really muddy. We were in Kernville, California, and it downpoured for 2 days. and we were running in like mud. Like my horse's feet were getting stuck. I feel like we shouldn't have even trick rode in that. Like that should have just been like hold the rodeo off a day. It was really dangerous. And so my horse, I was in that trick, and I remember looking at my mom, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like looking at my horse. I'm like, "Over," and he just keeps going towards her because that was the driest spot. And she tried to move, and her feet were stuck in the mud. And so, so my horse just hit her chest to chest, knocked the contacts out of her eyes. I felt so bad.
Yard sale.
Oh my God. That
Yeah.
is he knocked the contacts out of her eyes. Like that's insane.
Oh, not only did you just get freaking freight train, but now you can't see. I can't see fucking
Yeah,
shit out of these things.
But what was crazy, she was complaining about her back the whole time we were on the road on that trip, and suddenly she had no more back pain. I don't like free chiropractor, I guess, but not in the right way.
Oh my God, your mom's such a sweetheart too.
No, I felt terrible.
Wow. So, well, I mean, you are responsible for clearing her back, so you got that going for her.
Yeah.
$10 though. Your dad never heard the end of that. I told you you shouldn't have let her trick ride.
Oh yeah. It was funny. Really, all we could do was laugh about it, and we waited to post that video. We've been like contemplating on posting that video or not the last couple of years. And then on her birthday, I was like, might as well. It's hilarious. Who doesn't want to see it?
On her
You got to watch
birthday,
it.
too.
Go check Bella's Instagram. It's unbelievable. I died. Like I watched it like 7 times because it's unbelievable. And I'm glad she's okay because when you watch it, like because you posted on her birthday, I was like, oh, she must have been okay. But when you watch her, you're like, oh my God, like this woman is gonna be in big trouble because you were fine there, eh? When your horse hit her.
Yeah. But it was like a soft landing. She landed right in the puddle. In a worst case scenario situation, she had the best case scenario.
Yeah, dang, dude. Wow. So, you said you held off until you were about 10 years old, had confidence in your tricks, yourself, and your horse. Well, I've had the opportunity to go announce the CTRA finals the last couple of years. For those of you listening who don't know what that is, that's a Canadian Trick Riding Association. Where are other places for you to kind of go cut your teeth and just get those laps in a competition setting before having to buy a card as a contract act and go somewhere?
So I recommend like small rodeos, like amateurs and like all that good stuff, because that's like the crowds really appreciate you there. But there's also like there's enough stuff going on where it adds up to a pro rodeo or like what you're going to be running at. You just build up slowly. So like when I first started, I did like I think Barhead Rodeo. Like it's not that small, but it was enough for me to get my feet wet and be like, okay, yeah, this is something I want to continue with. And my horses ran good in it, and I felt comfortable. Like, of course, you're always nervous going in, like adrenaline's pumping, everything. But I believe that like those smaller and like the more control you can get your environment, the better, just for safety reasons. Anything can happen in a split second when you're trick riding, or even on a horse for that fact.
Yeah, just ask your mom.
Yep, she learned that one firsthand.
She's still looking for her contacts. Hopefully she'll find them soon. What's like you don't compete anymore, right?
No.
What are the competitions like? Like how do you like is it based on your tricks? Like how does that work?
So from when I did compete, it might be a little different now, but it was like you made friends with the girls you were competing against, and it was like a little family, and you'd like hang out with your friends and whatever, and you'd hang out, and it was based on your difficulty of trick and your speed, and then a part of it was horsemanship and showmanship, because they're judging you for like how you would do a show too. So when I performed, I picked my hardest tricks on my fastest horses, just because I'm really competitive, and so was my best friend at the time. We were in the same like age group, and if it wasn't me winning, it was her. So it was always us neck and neck with each other, which was great because we were so supportive. We didn't care who won as long as it was one of us, which kind of sounds terrible, but
Yeah, I mean, fire feeds fire, though. Who was that?
that was Peyton Bensmiller.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So Chuck Wagon family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, me and her we're still good friends, and trick riding, I believe, like when I started, it felt like that friendship with those girls, and it's for like a lifetime now.
That's awesome.
In the trenches doing tricks.
Yep.
Wow, when you were a kid growing up, what was that one trick that you were like, oh, like you're building towards that? I can't wait to do the suicide drag. I can't wait to do the full stroud layout, whatever. Like, what was that trick as a kid?
Mine was the back bend, like the bridge that Jerry Deuce did when
Sick.
she trick rode. Yeah, and no one had done it for years, and I was like, I'm bendy. My horse is slow. I can do it. Well, I learned that I couldn't do it the first time. I ended up folding and like giving myself a wicked concussion on the back of my saddle.
Oh,
It's like one of the most dangerous tricks, and I can still do it to this day. I just choose not to perform it because it's so hard to run. Like I do in competitions, but I don't think I'll do it in a show anymore. Just because if anyone even comes over the chutes and my horse takes a step to the side, I can't see where I'm going. I'm upside down. I'm backwards. Like I'm bent in half, and I can't recover as quick as I would be. But that was like the one that I was hell bent on getting, and I did it, and I competed with it, and I did pretty good, but sometimes that trick did do me dirty.
and now I'm dealing with minor
Wow.
CTE.
that sounds that sounds insane. I can't even imagine doing that. But you just dropped Jerry's name, legend, one of the pioneers, right, of trick riding, and you got an amazing opportunity this year at the CFR to perform next to one of your heroes. Tell us about what that was like.
That was like I'm still like kind of fangirling over getting to ride with her. Honestly, it was crazy. Like just you could tell like in the arena when you were in there with her when she came in, the whole Coliseum just lit up. Like it was
Mhm.
insane. I can't even. I don't know how I could explain the feeling, but it like adrenaline,
Yeah,
excitement.
you could feel the electricity in the air. Like I was there, and it was an amazing rodeo. There was amazing things happening. But you're right, nothing got that crowd as much as seeing that young lady ride into the arena, and then it hits you. It's like, oh my god, she's gonna do tricks on a horse
Yeah.
that's galloping. And like, I don't want to age her. I don't know how old she is, but just like it was
Take a
like, oh
guess,
my god.
Felipe.
Yeah, sure, bud. I'm old enough to know you
Because,
never guess a woman's age. But if I did
dude,
have to guess, I'd say she was 36 years old.
because honestly, I kind of want Bella to tell people because, like Jerry, I got to work with her all summer on a movie that was being filmed, a TV show in Alberta. So we were riding horses with her every single day, and once you find out her age, you're just like, there's no way. There's no way that that's how like that's Jerry's age because it's incredible. And then you see her at CFR hucking these insane tricks, and then people were finding out her age again, and we're like, holy shit, what?
Yeah, I can't. I think she's like 60s maybe.
We'll leave it
I,
there.
around there. I can't remember. I forget how old she is because she just blows my mind every time.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
she doesn't show her age, that's for sure.
yeah, what an example of like age is just a state of mind, right? Like you can do whatever you want as long as you put your mind to it. And she performed with so much elegance and so much class. And tell us about that moment. How did this come about, Bella? Like when did you find out about it? Who orchestrated? And then what was it like? Like did you girls practice together? How did that all go?
So Jillian, working with C5 and like helping put on the CFR, putting it on, she reached out and she like made a group message like undercover trick routing mission is what she named it as, and it was like to me and Shelby, hey girls, we're getting Jerry to ride with you, and me and Shelby were like, what? Like no way, Jerry is riding with us, and Jerry like tuned in and she's like, hey, like I'm super excited, and we were like, I was sitting there and I was like, holy cow, like I get to ride with the Jerry Deuce. I was like mind blown. And then so Jerry and Shelby got to practice, but I live like 6-7 hours away from them, so I wasn't able to make it there in time. So I just practiced with them when we got to CFR, and we kind of did our show run through, and then we just whipped it out.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, just got all the big dogs out there and let them bark. That was so
Yeah.
cool. I couldn't get over that. Like you said, the atmosphere in that building, you couldn't recreate that. Like I have some
Yeah.
shivers right now just seeing all you girls doing a lap and then one at a time and then Jerry and did that make you want to do that back layout and just bring it back for Jerry?
I was actually getting ready to perform at Ford that day, but I
No.
couldn't bring in 2 horses at a time because I can't run my little black mare in there with that trick. So I was going to use my yellow horse that you rode because he's slower and safer. And, but we just couldn't fit that many horses and get that many people in there on time, or else because I was practicing it the day before and I had it and I was good to go. But I was like, ooh, do I not? And we just called it out. We're just going to let Jerry. Let's end it on Jerry being super cool and badass.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And how many times have you got to perform at the Canadian Finals Rodeo?
That would have been my third year. So yeah, 3 times.
3 years in a row now?
Yep.
Very cool. That's huge.
That's gotta be such a, like, for you, you've worked your whole life for this, especially being back in Edmonton.
Yeah.
I know people are like, is it good? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it bad? But I tell you what, just to see it in that building, it's what rodeo deserves. It's amazing to see it there, to see your girls performing with sold out crowds. Like, it was unbelievable. The attendance they got as well. I was really happy about that. But was there a moment in your career, like, what is the moment where you're like, oh my God, like, this is epic. Like, look where I am. Like, did you have that moment? Like,
Yeah, I think I've had that a couple times this year. Like mainly this year because I've hit some of like my big rodeos, like top of my list, and like San Diego would hit me. I was like, whoa. Like when we were leaving there, I was like, I looked at my mom and I was like, I can't believe I just rode here. Like that's crazy. I'm the first trick rider at this rodeo, which is like super cool to me because lots of rodeos have had trick riders, but I've never been the first somewhere. So that was kind of cool to do and see and be there. And then CFR was like it was where my like dream started, and then I got to ride in it at my hometown again, and like being there with Jerry and like my first CFR, Nikki was there and she helped me. She walked into the arena and she was like crying and she was like, "I'm so proud of you." And it was like all emotional back there at our first CFR just because she's the one who really started me and pushed me to be where I am today.
Just gave me goosebumps again. God dang it. That's so
I,
cool that that's the lady that you saw. You saw Nikki and was just like, I want to do that. And then your first CFR, she's like, come on, girl, you're up.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, Nikki is amazing.
How full circle is that of a moment, right? Very few people will get to live that. That's like literally stuff they write in movies, right? Like, you're
Seriously.
watching this as a little girl, and there she is next to you, like helping you go into the arena. How many years later? You're so young, Bella. Like, what is it normal for a trick rider to find this kind of success so early? Like, is it a young woman's sport, or have you just pushed harder? Did you start earlier? Like, what's that been like?
I believe it's like it's like an age sport. Like you can't make your career off trick riding for the rest of your life. Um, but I'm pretty lucky because I've pushed so hard to get where I'm at today, and like I'm gonna keep pushing until I get where I want to be, like at the very top. And but I believe like lots of other trick riders, they've worked just as hard and are just making their breakthroughs too. So it's nice to see them finally get their opportunities and then out like next in line.
What's the X on your map? What's the big goal? What's the dream?
NFR, Pendleton, Reno, Days of 47. Those are like, oh, and Cheyenne.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking
So,
over the world. I love
yeah.
it.
Well,
Yeah,
man, you're off to such a good start that I have no doubts in my mind that those committees won't be calling soon.
yeah. Fingers crossed.
Right? No, that
Yeah.
is freaking awesome. So NFR's on the bucket list, Pendleton's on the bucket list, Reno, a handful down in the States. We were talking about this a little bit in Banff. You've started to go through the process of getting the work visa to come down to the States. Talk about that dance a little bit because I mean Felipe, he's doing a lot of talks in the US. We were talking about how, I want to break into the American market as well, but there is some red tape to cut through. So can you give us a little breakdown of what that process has been like?
Yeah, so it was first like it took me a couple years to figure out how I was going to be able to get a visa and what kind of visa to get because I'm not just like a rodeo athlete. I'm getting paid every show I'm at. So I have to make sure that I'm doing it all by the books so I can keep going back to the States. I don't want to get flagged at the border. So we went in with our athlete's visa is what we went and got lawyers and that's what they told us to get. And I've been pretty good. Like I've had no issues. I'm like really honest about everything. We go across the borders, and with the getting the visa took forever though. Like I think it was 2 years in
Ooh.
like, yeah, till I finally got it, because we did it right during and after COVID, so that I was able to like go right after COVID to get my pro card and go hard, because we didn't really know what was going to happen then, like after COVID, like what was going on in the world or how rodeo was going to be, because everything was so expensive and lots of people lost money. So we were like, well, if it's going to be my time, it's like I'm going to make it worth its while now. And so that's what kind of why we pushed so hard at the beginning to like get my pro card in the States and get that visa, um, and like get those rodeos. But I feel like the most difficult part with it is the money, like paying for that visa, because it costs a lot, and it's not in Canadian dollars; it's in American currency.
Yeah.
And like
So
dollars, crap.
yeah, no kidding. Hey, just pour a little salt on the wound already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And then
hurts. It's no fun.
and then in terms of getting carded professionally down here, what does that look like? Because up at home, what do they got to come watch you at a few shows? Basically, yep, they're good to go. Issue a card. Is that the same for down here?
No, down here you have to get a top or NFR announcer in the last 5 years to sign off on your card. You have to get a contract act or a dress act in the top five, dress act of the year award to sign off on your card. And then you have to be audited at 5 rodeos, and then you're on your permit. And then they still don't decide until they sign off on your permit, and they'll get people to come watch you at the rodeos you're performing at that are pro once you're on your permit.
Dang, so you got to kiss some hands and shake some babies.
Yeah, and I didn't know any Americans.
Uh-oh.
So like not knowing anyone was really tough, but I was really lucky. Like I worked with Wayne Brooks at Calgary Stampede, and so he kind of led me in the right direction, along with Bethany and Ryder Kistner.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that was that complicated. So how long did the entire process take?
Think like 6 months, roughly.
Wow.
Long enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, a lot of hoops that you have to jump through. And you just said down here, are you in the States right now? Are you in Arizona as well?
I'm back home now. I'm back in Canada.
You're back in Canada. Okay. And let me ask you something quick. Da Costa, is that Portuguese? What is your background?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Portuguese.
Fala português?
What,
No.
sir? I
Do you
don't
speak
speak it.
Portuguese? Nope.
No,
okay.
that's my dad. My dad can. His whole
I thought maybe you
family
had
can.
like a grandma that was always like, "Hey, Bella, vini qui," and talk to you over
Oh,
here.
they say things, but it never registered.
That's so funny. And Bella, tell us about just going down the road. How many horses do you usually take? What's that like for you? Are you just like another rodeo competitor? What's that part of the process like?
So I would say I'm pretty similar to another rodeo competitor, except I get to stay at the rodeo the whole weekend instead of like jump around to rodeo. So that's like a plus, out of being a trick rider. But I travel with 3 to 4 horses, and it's normally me and my mom going down the road all the time. Sometimes I'll hit a couple in Canada, and I'll bring one of my friends along, because she'll just be like, yeah, you can go on your own this time. But then she shows up anyways. Yeah, so I just traveling with 3 to 4 horses. Normally I bring one that I'm training along the way too, so I can get them used to the atmosphere, just bring them around and get them like around all those other animals, like at a young age. Like I've had a couple horses get sick when I was down in Arizona, and like vet bills piled up, and I've had a couple horses get hurt. So the more horses I have on my trailer, the longer I can stay gone for, and the better it is for, well, the summer.
I can imagine. And let me just ask a quick question here. I was thinking about scajoring, not only your horses, but are they putting spikes on those shoes? What are you guys using on the snow out there, or are they just going barefoot?
Yeah, I used frost nails on mine, just because I'm running them side by side, and they'll break and they'll wear down by the time I get home. So they'll work for my time in Banff.
Okay, now is that a difficult setting for you to perform, or is it just like running on dirt? What's that like?
It's really hard, because I don't Roman ride like much anymore. I throw my team together before Banff, and I'm like, yeah, my horses are good. They're broke. We're gonna go wing it. And this year was a lot tougher than last year because I got home 2 days before I left to Banff. So my horses got Roman rode twice before we left, and they were just hot and jacked up. And then the snow sometimes doesn't settle when we're in Banff, and it's hard. Like some horses will find the holes in the snow because it's not hard packed enough. So when I'm Roman riding, when one horse goes down, it's like kind of throws me that way, and it like, oh, gotta stay on my toes, gotta remember where I'm going. So that's more difficult. And then pulling a skier while trick riding, and since I don't have that like run up, I have to like go from a stop to a run, and I don't have my feet, so it's a lot harder to control my horse and get them to move once I don't have my feet, or like much of reins, all that good stuff.
Dude, it was tough this year too, because like where all the horses were starting for that track, we weren't allowed to keep the pathway of snow leading up to it overnight. They had to take the skid steer and pile it all back up. So it never got a chance to actually like settle and freeze and set. And so where they were supposed to be starting and like getting a good go and building up speed to hit the track, dude, them horses would punch through it so easy this year. That was a little sketchy.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah. But show must go on.
Yeah.
Can never stop, no matter what. Is it? Have you ever been anywhere that you said, like you talked about your mom, how much it had been raining, and you're like, we shouldn't have run, it was too muddy. Have you ever been somewhere where you're like, no, I can't do this, like for safety, or no? Do you just?
No, my horses, they can run through anything, really. So I'm just really lucky that my horses will dig and find the footing where it's best.
Wow, that's insane. I can't even imagine the trust, right, that you must have with these animals and the connection. Is that something that comes easy to you and quick, or some horses does it take longer? What's that process like?
Some horses take longer. Like me and my mare, we get along pretty good. But when she's having a bad day, so am I. Like, and she lets me know that it's my bad day too.
Oh dear.
But I've had that horse since she was a baby, so me and her are like pretty in tune with each other. But some other horses that I've got, I have a couple at home right now, and they're really tough to like understand them and figure out like what's going on. Why are they acting like this, or why are they scared of this and but not that? So it's kind of just like figuring out what horse and how to work through them with everything and get them used to it all.
Bit of a slow process, eh?
Yeah, pretty slow sometimes.
So you're packing a trailer full of horses, and obviously the summertime is the busy time, but how many shows are you going to in a year? How many kilometers are you putting on that Ford truck?
That the last year we did 100,000 kilometers.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she works hard.
And
Big
like,
duty goes everywhere.
what's the farthest north you had to go? What's the farthest south? What's the farthest east, west?
So I went. To be honest, I don't really know my directions, so we're just gonna go in my brain order. So I went to Wisconsin. I went to Washington. I did Arizona. I did California. And I've gone, not this year, but in previous years, I went all the way across Canada. I also did Quebec this year. I forgot about
Nice.
St. Tite.
St. Tite. Oh, how cool is that? Tell people that have never been to St. Tite have no idea what hurricane it is. Tell us about that experience.
That is one of the craziest roads I've been to. The crowd is like on top of you. They're here, and you can't even hear yourself think. Like the ground shaking. Think like chuck wagons at the Calgary Stampede when the crowd like stomps their feet.
Mhm.
That's what it's like the whole time you're at St. Tite. It's just nonstop craziness, but it's like good crazy.
Yeah,
Felipe,
we like crazy.
Have you been to that one, Philippe?
Yeah, I've been, and it's unbelievable, man. Like it's like they love the pickup men. Like they go nuts for them. Like they when they plow the arena, it's like the loudest it will get. Like they just celebrate anything that happens. Like, and we've all seen like they're insane. What is it? The one where they jump off the horse, the other guy's got to get on.
The
Yeah.
relay race.
The
Yeah,
relay
yeah,
racing, like that's their big thing, right? That's their calling to fame, right? They're the only ones crazy enough to do that. So it's happening. I always say it's like if the Calgary Stampede and Barretos in Brazil had a baby, Saint Tite would be their baby.
It would be a French outcome.
Yeah. It'd be a wild Frenchman. But Bella, I want to ask you about teaching. Now you've transitioned into teaching as well, right? Trick riding. What's that been like for you, getting the new generation in the saddle, and how cool is that?
It's pretty cool. I feel like it's a little tough at times because I want to make sure the kids are doing it. Like I did have a couple bad habits that like I learned they were harder to break when I grew up. So I'm pretty it sounds terrible, but I'm pretty strict on like the kids on like their basics. I want them to do it right. And so if they continue with the sport, it's going to be just naturally easy for them to do everything else once they grow up or they hit their growth spurts.
Yeah, of course, and safety as well, right? I'm sure it's a huge responsibility for you to be, teaching this art to these kids. But with great power comes great responsibility, right? What's that like? Are you like a mom? Are you like a worried mom, like while you're watching them try these tricks? Or
Sometimes, but like at the beginning of my clinic, so like the first couple lessons, I figure out how well they can ride their horse, and I go through like what a stride is, because lots of kids don't know what their horse's stride is, and they don't know what foot goes forward. So I make them sit on their horse's butts, and I make them trot and like count what foot is going forward first. So they have to feel each side of their horse, and so when you get in those tricks, one stride will throw you, and one stride will throw you back down. So it's kind of like you want to hit on their up strides that you're going up with your horse at the same time. And then, but like once they get going a little faster, I'm like, oh, I can't run with you anymore. Okay, I'm just watching here, maybe like a weird mom, but I'm just like, I trust them and I trust their horses, and they all know like what to do in case something happens. I've taught them like how to get out of wrecks, how to stop something from happening, and like be vocal with your horse. Yell at them, like if they're about to go buck on you, like yell and just catch them by surprise. And half the time they won't buck if you just like get that split second in, because some of the horses do buck.
it's 50-50. Half the time they won't buck. The other half, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
How often are you teaching, and how much time do you find that you can put on these little clinics and help the next generation of trick riders?
When I'm home, I have like a little lesson group of girls, and I try to do every weekend with them just to keep them going. And so through the winter, they stay in shape, and so that when we go to the summertime, because I'll do it during the week since they don't have school, we'll go like 3 days in a row during the summer, and so they're not as sore getting back into it in the summer. That sucks. But when I'm in the States, lots of those girls, they ride all the time, so they're pretty, like they stay in pretty good shape, and their horses are super super broke. So we just jump right back into trick riding whenever we can with them.
And like, are there any kind of drills that you can give people when they're at home, whether it be stretching, weight training? Like, what kind of stuff can you be doing to proactively stay ahead of the game, so when you do, get the opportunity to ride with you or whoever, that you're kind of more ready to go?
I would say just make sure like your horse is like a broke horse that you trust, and just make sure you got a strong core. So lots of planks, lots of sit-ups. Um, get tough, because every trick you do hurts.
You hear that, kids? Get tough. Whether you're trick riding or real life, you've got to get tough. And this is what I love about being a cowboy in our world, dude, is it literally starts to prepare us to take on challenges and get through adversity, whether it be getting bucked off doing a full stroud layout, or the bank calls you and says, you owe us this. Like, it literally just starts to prep you mentally and physically to take on some shit.
Yeah, 100%. And just like think about everything you're doing, Bella, at your age. Just you're getting the places on time. You know what I mean? You're doing your job properly. Like how many people do we see younger? And I'm not just saying people now, like my generation as well. Everyone always likes to point the finger, right? This new generation is gonna ruin the world. I feel like every generation was like that, right? But it's hard. Those things are hard when you're young to do, and you're doing, and you're meeting it. You're an entrepreneur. You have your own business. Like how cool is that? You're performing as an athlete, but you touched on something that I think everyone that rides, whether you're involved with rodeo or any kind of riding, you're in pain a lot of the time. Like, tell us about that, the mental game. Like, when you're going to perform, that you're doing rodeo after rodeo every weekend, I'm sure there are things in your body and muscles that are screaming in pain. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you block that?
Luckily, adrenaline. It's a great
Yeah.
but normally I'm able just to push through it. Like sports med, I've been really great. I tape my ankles and my wrists often. I've had to do my shoulder a couple times, but mainly it's just like I battle with head injuries, so just making sure I'm really careful about like my headaches and all that stuff, or what trick I'm doing that affects like my head that day, or however my head's feeling that day.
What hurts the most when you're trick riding, would you say? Like, is it your arm? Like, or what is it?
It's a mixture of everything. Like it all depends on what you're doing. So my main ones are like ankle injuries. My wrist and my ribs just pop out of nowhere.
Oh.
So like if I don't get into something right, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't breathe anymore. So
Oh, just get jarred while you're trying to get into a trick,
Yeah.
and it's just, oh, there goes my rib.
Oh, God.
yeah, and then my legs get all bruised because like you're hitting metal clips all the time, hitting that horn, like that Stroud layout trick I was talking about. I wear a horse boot on my shin because you're right up against that horn, and that's the only thing that kind of helps with the pain.
Wow,
Oh,
that's
God,
actually a brilliant idea. Just put a
Yeah.
leg boot on there. Yeah, that's actually awesome.
Yeah.
That is so smart. Are there things like that you have to adapt, like for the trick riding world that doesn't exist, like that, for instance? Like, are there other things, or do you have everything you need, kind of?
I have everything I need, kind of. Lots of trick riders for that trick, they use shin pads, but I've cracked a couple, and that just hurts a lot more. And like those mechanic, like I don't know, they're like mechanic pads, and my dad has them, so I stole them, and then I wrecked them. So I decided a horse boot is the way to go. I was
Oh my God.
I was in a pinch one
You
time. So.
hit the horn so hard that you broke a shin pad, like what a soccer player would wear. Sweet baby
Yeah.
Jesus.
Can we see your shins?
What's left of them?
I just want to see them. What do they look like? These things like, like
God.
black?
They're like, I have
Look
like
like
a
you got
permanent
frostbite on them.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna show you. This is awkward.
Oh, you're the
But like
best.
that's a permanent bruise right there.
Oh, dear.
It's,
Permanent
like,
bruise.
it's all messed up. We're all
Oh,
sorts of
God.
broken.
Oh my sweet.
Well,
All right,
I
everybody.
wish I had the
Anybody who
strength
wants to
of
get
your
into
shins.
trick riding, prepare to get physically assaulted like Mike Tyson.
I hope you don't like your shins, because they're gonna take a beating. No, honestly, Bella, like we can't thank you enough for coming on and giving us your valuable time. The podcast is called Should Have Been a Cowboy, so we have a question we ask everyone at the end. If they're not a cowboy, we ask them, what cowboy would you be if you were a cowboy? But obviously, you're a cowgirl. So the question to you is, if you weren't a cowgirl, what would Bella be?
I always thought I would be a lawyer because I like arguing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, that's almost like Josh Frost being like, I want to be a teacher. I was like, a
You're like,
lawyer.
what?
Like, what? I didn't expect that. Okay,
What-
tell us more about this.
What kind of law?
I don't know, like maybe crime, but
Would
like
you-
not violent crime because that's scary.
Just protecting
but, like,
people's shins.
Yeah, watching shins. Protect and
Objection, Your
serve.
Honor. My client's shins were brutally abused.
Wow,
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Never too late though. You can go to school for it when you're finished with your trick riding career.
Yeah, maybe. I think I've taken an alternate route now.
I think you were just addicted to watching Suits way back, and you were like, I could be a lawyer.
Hey, I'm watching it right now.
Are you watching it right now? Yeah, we're as well, but we kind of got tired of it. It just becomes the same thing over and over again. It's like,
Yeah.
here's a big stack of papers. We must solve this. And then by the end of the episode, it's like, we've solved it. Let's have a martini. It's like,
Yeah, we watch it on our drive since you don't have to pay that much attention to know what's going on.
yeah, exactly. But it's a
So
great show.
true.
If you haven't watched it, the beginning of it is unbelievable. But anyways, Bella, thank you so much for your time. You're the best. You're just killing it out there. Congratulations to everything you're doing and you've done. And I can't wait to see you at the NFR very soon and all those big rodeos you talked about.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. It was great being on here. First podcast. Woo!
No way.
What? Let's go,
Wow.
Should've
Started
been
with
a
the biggest
cowboy.
one. Started with
Yeah.
the biggest one. Right after Joe Rogan.
dude. Phenomenal. Well, thanks again, Bella.
Thanks,
We'll be
Bella.
seeing you in Arizona soon. So hit me
Yeah.
up. Felipe, we got another trick coming for you guys.
Oh, I can't wait to see the video. Bella, make sure he does that one. You said the toughest one. I want him that one. The back one. The back breaking.
I don't
one.
know if he can bend like that. He might break.
Oh my God. Cole has a tiger behind him.
There is a visitor. There's a tiger in the room.
All right, Bella. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. What a
Bella
talent.
da Costa.
What an absolute talent.
First podcast. I was happy about that.
Yeah. It's kind of nice to, I guess, get people out of their shell a little bit with something like this, right?
Yeah, she did a great job. She showed us her shins. You know how women are, right? I thought she was gonna be like, no, I'm not showing you my legs.
But she went right for it.
She was like, yeah, you want to see my shins? Here they
Yeah,
are.
look at this
That's
permanent
awesome.
bruise.
Yeah,
I look
so
at it, it
non
hurts.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh my God, that looks really painful. But yeah, just a class act, man. Like you know her better than I do. I don't know her that well. We see each other at some events during the year, but it seems like an amazing person, right? Just the way
Mhm.
you just saw her is the way she is all the time.
Absolutely, dude. Bubbly, smile on her face, never says no, right? Like just has
Yeah.
the cowgirl mentality of no, we'll get it done, right? Like even if it does hurt
Yes,
my
sir.
shin.
Yeah,
But yeah.
exactly. And so young, bro, to be that successful, eh? How amazing is that? 19 years old and already performing at San Diego, some of the biggest rodeos in the world. Like, good for her.
Yeah, and the thing I love about her story too is, when she was a 5-year-old girl, she saw that the trick riding and was just like, I want to do that, and not
Yeah,
do I just want to do that? I want to be the best at it. And
yeah.
look at her mentality now, right? She's checked off major bucket list rodeos with her sights set on some bigger ones yet to come.
Yeah, and I know she's gonna get it because she works hard and she's a real cowgirl, gets it done. So, Bella, thanks for being with us. Make sure you follow her on Instagram. Make sure you follow us. Should have been a cowboy.
Mhm.
Instagram, YouTube, OnlyFans. You know where to find us.
We will see you on the next one, boys. Yee!
Yeah.